G'day everybody and welcome back. I apologise there was no machining video out last week. I've just got finished up fitting the DRO to the milling machine. I didn't film it because there's already 1,000 videos out there on fitting DROs. The day has come where I have to start this boring and facing head. Now, I'm going to say right from the outset, I don't know how I'm going to go filming this. It's a massive job. I don't want to show all the plans, like all the detailed drawings, because they're not my plans to show. This boring and facing head was designed by a viewer by the name of Barry. So probably 10 months ago, Barry got in touch after I built the 3-inch boring head. Got in touch and said, would you like to work together? I'll design one, you build it. And I think if this works out successful, they may become available in plan form, and not sure, don't quote me on this, but as in a kit. So you'll be able to get all the bits and you machine it yourself. I'm not too sure on that part, but these plans may become available. This is going to be a multi-series, like multi-video series. So if you don't like them, I can't do much about it because I can't build it in 2 days. But anyway, I'll see how I go with the filming. Hopefully I can do a decent job of it and yeah, make it interesting to watch. Anyway, we'll make a start at it, but I'll show you this DRO first on the milling machine. I'm pretty excited to have that. So what I ended up going for was a Sino SDS6. This is sort of the higher end of the Sino range, I believe. Now I bought this through Digitech Direct. I put a half-K metal master on the lathe, and to be honest with you, the reason I haven't showed it because I'm not really happy with it, to be honest. I did use Sino scales on the lathe, and there is a fair chance when I can afford it I will put one of these monitors on the lathe and have them both the same. Now I contacted Digitech Direct. I spoke to a guy by the name of Marco. I measured all the travels in me axes. I gave him them and he said yep, that's all I need. He sorted out the length of the scales I required. I ordered it, paid for it, and then within about 4 days or 5 days it was here. So these guys are in Melbourne, and to be honest with you, like, they're not paying me to plug them or anything like that. I could not be happy with the service. I rang another large firm in Australia about a DRO and they just were not interested. So super happy with these guys. Emailed, told me that they're on the way, that it had been sent. Yeah, there was really good communication. So, and I do believe if there's ever an issue, these guys will be straight onto it. So I can't recommend them enough. It was a really good deal to go through. So I got all glass scales, all Sino glass scales, and it took me a couple of days to fit them all up. And like I'll show you some of the brackets I made, they weren't easy. I just wanted to do it once and do it right, so just took me time. So there's a Z-axis. Yes, that's not very neat, but it may come off and get the fly cutter run over it yet. That one fitted up nice. X-axis fitted up nice. Cabling's a bit of a... Still got to sort something out with that because that looks crap. Bring around this side. Okay, that's what I had to do for the for the Y-axis. Simply because when the power feed unit comes up close, it was going to clash on the bottom here. This face here basically touches up. I lost about 8mm because of that bracket. I could cut the corner off that bracket and gain the 8mm, but I don't believe it's worth it. These are all existing holes I picked up on, and I should have painted them brackets, but I was getting sort of over towards the end. Now this 2 holes here that I mounted the cable into with some P-clamps. They were already there, that's where the original electrical box was. So I just picked up on them too. And I still haven't got a box for the, or somewhere to put that power feed unit yet for the power supply, but anyway, all the scales are on. The only thing I haven't done is put the way cover back on, because it's all hard and crusty, and I had to put a stop in here. It's the only bit of material I had. Put a stop in so I don't crash into here like I already have. Anyway, that's the DRO. It's all fitted. Pretty happy with that. So big thanks to Digitech Direct. Really can't thank them guys enough. I'm going to leave a link in the description to Digitech Direct. Yeah, I'll leave a link in the description, and you guys can, if you're interested, go and check them out. Right, this is the display on the lathe. I'm just going to show you something that really bugs me. Now, it doesn't matter whether you have it set on radius or diameter. If I put a figure into the x-axis, which is what I class as a cross slide, if I put in a figure, say 50, and then press enter, it'll double it every time. You got to halve it every time you want, every time you put a dimension in there. I have set it onto radius, I've set it on diameter, it does it every time regardless. Even you go through the book, there's nothing to stop that feature. I rang Heron Forbes. Their response to me was, oh, that's tough luck, pretty much. But if you're looking to buy another one, don't buy another one yet, because they're bringing out a revamped version, because this one had a few faults, and that's obviously one of them. So if you can do without a DRO for a while, don't buy one until the new model comes out. Well, that's not a real good answer. Anyway, hopefully this thing is going to be going before long when I can afford it, and I'll put a Sino display up on there, the same as what's on the mill, and turf this one. Okay, this is a piece of cast iron. What I've done, the OD has to be 90mm, which is what it is. I didn't bother showing that because it's just plain turning, facing it off and turning it to size. I am going to try to part this off when I'm finished in the lathe. This is the component we're making to start with. It's got over a 10mm bore put through here. Going to drill this, and then I'm going to put this counter bore in, and then it comes out, or part it off, then comes out of the lathe and get the rest of the features put in. So it's pretty important with this section here to get this spot on. Unfortunately, I do not have a boring bar, so I'm going to have to wing it. It's not bad straight off the bat, is it? Wing it and just run the reamer, hope for the best. Okay, this counter bore, if you want to call it that, has to be 36mm wide, 5.5mm deep. X is 20. Enter, now halve it. Piece of shit. To measure this counter bore, you can't fit a telescopic gauge in it or whatever. and it's no good running off the verniers. A very kind viewer sent these little set of machinist calipers in. So these rely on a lot of feel, so I'm still learning, getting the right feel, and that's how I'm going to measure it. So it'll take me a while to get them, you know, to get confident with them. This is probably not the job to be learning on. Anyway, that's what I'm going to use. Pretty handy to have. Okay, I've got 0.1 to come off the diameter and 0.09 to come off the depth. Just as a rough measurement, .36 on the dot, 36.01 actually, and I only have an imperial depth mic, so I've been using that and just converting it back to metric, so I know that's the depth is right. Got to put a chamfer on here before I forget to. I better stick something in that tailstop so I can catch it, I guess. That was painless. Not what I was expecting anyway. So it actually parted off pretty darn nice, really. Okay, I'll get a measurement of that and then bring it down to final dimension, which is 31.25. Okay, it's time to put this DRO to the test. This piece here has to have two flats opposite each other, obviously. I've done a heap of math, well, a little bit of math, feels like a heap in my head. I have to remove 6.89 millimeters from this top surface down, flatten that off, turn it over 180 degrees. It's written on a bit of paper over there. I've got to do the same on the other side, but it's only a very small flat. So I'm going to bring the knee up. I've locked the quill off, bring the knee up. I've got a brand new 3-flute carbide end mill, thanks to a very kind viewer. And you know who you are, thank you very much, mate. Touch off, zero the DRO, and then just gnaw away at it. Okay, I just had a bit of a quick vacuum up. That there, I cannot feel any ridges in it at all. Feels very, very good. And we hit the number right on target, so 6.89 going by the DRO. Okay, we have 1.49 millimeters to come off this side here. Will not show the wife, I was using a vacuum. Hope she don't see this. She'll make me do it inside. Go and study the plan and move on to the next bit. Right, so what I have done here, I've machined up a dowel pin. When I ran this to 10mm, it went out to 10.1. So I went oversized, so I machined up my own pin. All this dowel pin acts as a datum for the dovetail. For all measurements taken now are off this center datum. So set up a coaxial indicator, and I can't get it any better than that. It has got weight on it. It's spot on actually. I'm pretty happy with that. So the dovetail does run this way. So what I'll have to do is remove this pin. I've got to bring in the sides. I may have to do a run out to Trevor's and borrow his dovetail cutter because mine's just not quite deep enough for the cut. Okay, I'm going to just put a bit of red Sharpie marker. I'm going to touch off on there and then start taking it down. Okay, that's that one side done. Down to 9.75 depth. Move over and do this side. Okay, I've just checked all the dimensions and I'm pretty much smack on dimensions in width and depth. I don't have a metric depth mic. I do have an imperial one and I am 1 thou too deep. So I can handle that. This also has an additional step, 1.5mm deep. Put a step in each side and then I can then move on to doing the dovetail. that's done. Right to start the dovetail. Okay, I just aimed for a run out to Uncle Trev's and borrowed his dovetail cutter. It does have a couple of chipped teeth on it, but I don't think it's going to affect it. So I've touched off on the bottom and touched off on the side. Now, the plan says use a couple of 10mm dowel pins, which I have, and it gives you the measurement. So I'll just work in from both sides to the same dimension and just keep measuring when I get close. It's going to take a little while. I'll bring you guys back when I'm a little closer. I've done both sides of the dovetail. I've got two 10mm dowel pins. So end dimension on these should be 60mm on the knocker. I've got 60.73. Let's just hope this is right on 60mm. Whew, 60.01. Double check myself just to make sure it wasn't stuff up. Yep, definitely 60.01. We're on the money. That's a relief. We have to put a trough in here. It's meant to have a 4mm radius in the bottom. I've only got a 5/16. So I've done the dimensions on using a 5/16 cutter. This is for clearance. There also has to be another one up in this side here with a piece left in the middle. I'm going to take me time doing this, and I'll bring you guys back when I'm getting closer, eh? Not going to bore you. It's probably not the correct way to do it, but anyway, that's the way I'm doing it. So we're shooting for 20mm wide, 20.01 I'd say. I could still feel it a touch. It's just over 20, so it'd be 20.01 I reckon, which is, I know it's not important, but to me it's important to hit the numbers that are on the plans. Move along and put this pocket in this side here. So that's them two pockets in. I went to exactly the same numbers width wise as I did with this one. So this one's got to be on size. I realise this is a terrible setup. So it's a 30 taper to a Morse taper 3 and then obviously a drill chuck. I have ordered a 30 taper direct to a keyless chuck. So I'm just still waiting for that to arrive. But here I have to put in 2 M5 threads. The top has to be reamed down to 6mm to a depth, and then there's the stopper screws. They're like a shoulder bolt, which you'll see a bit after. You know, I've picked up on the first location, and yeah, drill right through. These are going to be 22mm apart. That's them real cheap import reamers. That's it. So I've got to do the same again, 20mm from that one over there. I'll get this other one done off camera. Okay, that's them two bolts fitted. That part's complete now. There is one little hole in the centre here as well that lines up with an oil port that comes in from the side, which I believe oils a lead screw. So that is in as well, I didn't show that. So now it has to come out and there has to be some holes put in from the sides. And the 6 mounting holes for the arbor. Rightio, I've got the part flipped over and indicated back in. This has to have 2 M4 holes, one there and one in this side. These go down and intersect with the dovetail, and then there's a hole comes in from each side that has a button oiler, and it'll oil down into the dovetails. So I've got to put the 6 holes in to hold the 30 taper arbor on. This is a Vertex arbor, I believe. So these holes aren't, not on a even PCD. So what I'm going to do is put these 2 in using a DRO, and then use a transfer punch and pick up on the center punch marks to put the other 4 in. Just checked the tracking on my new drill chuck and it's going to be here today, but I can't wait, I want to get this done. Okay, 4.2mm drill for an M5. I did put a little countersink on the top of them as well. Right, transfer these other 4 holes and drill and tap them. Okay, let's see how we went with this. It all bolts up very nicely. So yeah, it locates off that center boss, so it should run pretty concentric. So what happens now, I'll take this back off, and I've got 2 holes to put in the side and 1 in the other side. There for the oil ports for the dovetail and the lead screw. So I've stuck this part up on its edge and just checking the alignment for squareness. That's plenty close enough for me. I need to establish a flat on the top here so that the drill don't wander off, obviously. Okay, what I am concerned about here is it may have broke, because these holes weren't concentric, may have broke into this one here. I'm not 100% sure. I've just got to nut that out now. So if I block that off, and it did, bastard. It's okay, it shouldn't hurt, because once the bolt goes in there, and if I have to shorten that bolt, it's not going to hurt. It'll block that off and still let the oil feed down. I knew it was going to be close, but obviously a touch too close. Anyhow, I've got to open the top of these up now to accept the button oiler. That's them 2 done. What I've got to do is flip this over now and do this hole, this centre hole on the opposite side, but I won't worry about showing that. Unfortunately, I have made a mistake. I've misread the plan. These holes here should have been drilled 3.3 for an M4 thread, so you can put a set screw in there to block it off from the oil. Unfortunately, I've gone and drilled it M4, not M3.3. So that leaves me with a bit of a decision whether I make a little bung up to put in that hole to block them off, which I think that's what I'll end up doing. I just realised on the plan, but anyway, it's the only mistake I've made so far. So there's 2 M6 holes to go 38mm apart. I'll just, lawnmower's going in the background, I'll be going in again in a second in the background, so I'll just get these done. So that's the part that's completely finished. The only thing I have to do is make up 2 little 4mm plugs to put in them holes. That was purely my mistake there. Can't be anyone else's. But other than that, there's no other mistakes on it. One of my dirty hands. I just gave it a wipe down with some WD-40. But it's all looking pretty darn nice. Even though cast iron's messy to work with, it's nice to work with. Anyway, that's first component complete.